What do you make of China this year threatening Japan, which seems like posturing because they haven't even taken Taiwan yet? South Korea is in a bit of a geopolitical civil war, and we've seen Chinese protesters there obviously trying to stir up more conflict. It's a pressure cooker like always. Trump has told Japan to back off of China when they are just defending themselves. Trump's been pretty good on China, but even while they're bogged down trying to prop up Russia's military and keep this war going and keep Putin's economy afloat when it's starving, they are obviously threatening the rest of the region still. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, I don't think their real goal was to invade Taiwan. I think their real goal was to attack the United States. I think Taiwan is the diversion. They just attack the United States. They attack Hawaii, they attack the West Coast while Russia rains down the bombs. What's Taiwan going to do? They just could be sitting out there isolated to be picked up later. But look, before Russia invaded Ukraine, they had plans to attack Japan. We know this. This has been documented. So they were seriously considering taking Japan, but they pivoted towards Ukraine for whatever reason. And no, I think there was some bluff and bluster there. But look, I know that the Russians have a lot in reserve in Belarus. They have lots of nukes that they haven't used yet. See, they're reluctant to use nukes in Ukraine because it's right next to them, and they'd rather win without it. But they will use nukes against Western Europe. No problem at all. They'll use nukes against the United States. No question. Look, here, I'll tell you a little story. This was, Jeff's probably told you this story. What was his name? The Russian defector military intelligence guy from, just forgotten his name. But anyway,
Bukovsky or Litvinenko?
no, this was a guy who defected. He was Russian military intelligence in the United States. And Stanislav Lunev. He had defected about 2009. So this is well after the so-called collapse of communism. But he said, this is what he said. He said, this is the Russian-Chinese plan. It's still in effect now. China attacks the United States Russia attacks the United States in a surprise nuclear attack. The Mexicans, Cubans, Venezuelans, they come up through the Mexican border and they have looting rights over the southwest of the United States, and the Chinese attack across the Pacific. But he said, they know they will lose 20 million men or 10 million, whatever, but they got 30 million young men who will never marry because they've been aborting the baby girls for decades now. And that's a huge social problem. So it gets rid of that problem, but they eventually get a foothold in the United States. Then they conquer and eliminate the population and move probably half their population from China to the US. That's the operational plan for taking down the US. But Stanislav Lunev was with Jeff Nyquist at a meeting of top US military officials one day. And these officials, CIA, were there, and they were going on about, Russia wouldn't do this, because it would be too environmentally damaging to let off nukes. It would hurt the whales. It would hurt the environment. Russia would never do this. And Stanislav Lunev looked at this guy who was spouting this stuff off, and he said, are you a normal person? He said, because you look normal, but you're talking like an idiot. Do you think the Russians care a damn about the whales? When I was in the Russian military and in Russian military intelligence, we only ever trained for one thing and one thing only in the entire term of my service. That is thermonuclear war against the United States. He said the whole room went silent. And they all looked at their shoes because they realized that finally somebody told the truth. And all their fantasies about Russia wouldn't do this and wouldn't do that, and we can manage Russia and we can manage North Korea. It's absolute crap. They aim to eliminate us physically. They want better trade. They don't want more money than us. They don't care about that. They want our land to settle their people, and they may keep some of us for slaves until they work us to death. But their aim is to eliminate us and populate our lands with their people. The famous book Unrestricted Warfare by two Chinese colonels. They say, it is a shame that we have to destroy America. They have been very good to us. World War II, they saved us from the Japanese. They have been very good to us. But this is our survival or theirs. It is us or them. We have no choice but to eliminate America.